Excellency Governor Daniel J. McKee.
Thank you, President. Good evening, everybody. You bet. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're ready to go. Mr. Speaker, Madam President, legislators, general officers, Chief Justice, and members of the judiciary, municipal leaders, my wife Susan, daughter Cara, I think Mabel James is watching at home tonight. She's going to be 3 in January, later in January. My fellow Rhode Islanders, exactly 1 month ago today, our state experienced an unthinkable tragedy, one that took the lives of 2 Brown University students and placed many others in harm's way. As a parent, I think about the families who received the worst call imaginable. Our hearts remain with them and the entire Brown community. My goal now is to help college students, faculty, and staff feel safe in their learning environments. That's why my administration convened leaders from all Rhode Island colleges and universities to review security protocols. And that's why we're coordinating mental health providers across the state so anyone who needs help has access. There aren't words to fully express the gratitude I feel for the countless people who stepped forward during this painful time. To the first responders, law enforcement, hospital staff, mental health workers, and community members who showed their best selves during the worst of times. And to Mayor Smiley and Chief Perez, whose steady leadership guided us through the darkest hours, Rhode Island thanks you. As I begin my comments tonight, I want to point out municipal leaders that are here. The 39 cities and towns, the flags are outside. That's the first thing I did when I became governor, to make sure we had every community represented here. And as I travel and talk to people, and I share with them the things that are happening in this state that are good, what they say to me is, I didn't know that. I just didn't know that. You need to tell that story. Tonight, I'm going to tell that story. In the 5 years I've served as your governor, I've learned that every decision we make in this building ultimately reaches one place: the homes where Rhode Island families come together. That's been true not just here in our state, but throughout our nation for 250 years. As we approach our country's milestone anniversary, I'm reminded that the true heart of our nation isn't in the halls of power, but in the homes of Americans. The work we do in this building matters, but I think we can all agree that the real heart of Rhode Island is in the homes where families are thinking about their futures and the future of the state. Right now, I know a lot of families are questioning what the future holds. They turn on the TV or social media, they scroll through social media, and they're concerned about what the months and years ahead may bring. I understand that, because my own family is having those same conversations. But as your governor, when it comes to the state of our state, here's what I know to be certain. Rhode Island always has each other's backs, and no matter what comes our way, Rhode Island is strong, Rhode Island is steady, and together we're building a future worth fighting for. In the years ahead, we will keep fighting for the future Rhode Islanders deserve. We will keep Rhode Island building and our economy growing. We will help our children reach their full potential. We will put more money back in families' pockets and raise incomes in every home. Raise incomes in every home. And we will work together to fight back against harmful policies from the Trump administration, protecting our most vulnerable, and defending Rhode Island's economy and our values. When I was working on this upcoming budget, I was thinking about the costs that keep Rhode Islanders up at night, the cost we must lower to keep our state competitive and growing. But while we're working to bring down costs, President Trump has made life more expensive at every turn. His erratic tariff policies have swept through the economy, raising prices on groceries and household goods. In the first 8 months of the Trump presidency, the average household paid an additional $700 due to higher costs. As governor, I'm not going to stand by and let President Trump price Rhode Islanders out of their way of life, because Rhode Island's future is one worth fighting for, and that future should be affordable for all. That's long been one of my highest priorities. Since I've been governor, I've worked with the General Assembly to ensure Rhode Islanders no longer pay a car tax. Veterans no longer pay a state tax on their military pensions. Most businesses no longer pay a tangible tax. Many students are paying less for tuition because we made Rhode Island Promise permanent at CCRI. And we created the Hope Scholarship at Rhode Island College. That's it for Rhode Island College. Seniors are paying fewer taxes on their retirement income because we raised the exemption. Not once, twice. We cut $35 million from electric and gas bills by suspending energy tax. We delivered $20 million in savings to businesses and large and small this year by lowering the unemployment insurance tax rate. And we put $40 million directly back in families' pockets with a child tax rebate. Now let's keep delivering. Tonight, I'm excited to propose Rhode Island's first Affordability for All agenda, an Affordability for All agenda that will keep $215 million in Rhode Islanders' pockets in the first full year and $1.4 billion over the next 5 years. This plan will touch every household in all 39 cities and towns in our state. I'll propose creating Rhode Island's first permanent child tax credit. lowering the gas tax, reducing the fees on your electric bill, lowering health care costs, and eliminating the tax on Social Security. Tonight, I want to speak directly with Rhode Islanders about my Affordability for All agenda. Let me start by talking with seniors who rely on this benefit. Rhode Island is one of only 8 states that tax Social Security. Let's change that. AARP Rhode Island is here in the gallery tonight. They've been fighting this fight for many years because they know that eliminating the tax will keep retirees in our state contributing to our economy and improving their quality of life. We've cut costs for seniors before. Now let's keep delivering. I'm proud to announce that my budget will forward a plan to eliminate the state tax on Social Security once and for all. Next, I want to speak with Rhode Islanders who are raising children in our state. The cost of raising a child is climbing faster than ever before. Child care costs more. Groceries cost more. Even school supplies cost more. And families nationwide are feeling that pressure. Nationally, met her family tonight. Wonderful, wonderful family. She and her family understand all too well the hardships many Rhode Islanders face in trying to keep up with the rising cost of living. When they couldn't afford child care for their youngest, she and her husband worked split shifts to try to take care of their child. It shouldn't be this hard. Supporting young families like Nashley's is essential to building a strong economy. The Right from the Start Coalition understands that. They're here in the gallery tonight. We have provided tax relief to families before. Now we're expanding the dependent deduction to create Rhode Island's first ever permanent child tax credit. We're making $325 per child available. We'll be giving more money to more families. To the drivers that are listening in, last year's gas tax increase pushed Rhode Island to the 10th highest in the country. When it comes to filling up your tank, every dollar matters. That's why my budget will roll back last year's gas tax increase, delivering nearly $9 million in relief at the pump every year going forward. To every Rhode Islander who pays an energy bill, God bless you. I want to talk to you next. Rhode Island has the 4th highest residential electricity rates in the nation. We cannot let this continue. I know that families are at their breaking point when it comes to energy costs. That's why in December I was pleased to see the Public Utility Commission vote at my request to provide $21 million in cuts to your energy bill this year. My budget will deliver even more energy relief. will reform and reduce the 25% of your energy bill that comes from state programs and taxes. These changes will align us with our neighboring states and lower your bill. My budget will deliver over $1 billion in energy relief over the next 5 years. We can't forget that against the backdrop of rising costs, our ability to generate affordable energy in our own backyard has been threatened by the Trump administration twice. But just yesterday, a judge, once again, found that the Trump administration's most recent stop work order was baseless, clearing the way for workers to get back to work on their jobs. Tony is here with us tonight. Tony? Tony is a Building Futures graduate, a member of the Carpenters Local 330, and he earned his offshore wind credentials through our Real Jobs RI program. Tony stood with us last August when Rhode Islanders came together to push back against federal interference with Revolution Wind. Tony, until this project is complete, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with my fellow Democratic governors and put the full weight of our state behind this fight. Let me be clear, we will not back down. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. You got it. I'm talking to all Rhode Islanders when I say the cost of health care is too high. My budget will hold private health insurers accountable by setting enforceable caps on costs and penalties for any company that does not comply. That's good news for all Rhode Islanders. Those who buy insurance through HealthSource Rhode Island are facing rising costs or a loss of coverage due to inaction by the Washington Republicans. Keeping our uninsured rate as low as possible is at the greatest risk of losing their HealthSource Rhode Island coverage. When it comes to affordability for all, we can't forget about the rising cost of higher education. I want to share Sonia's story. Sonia is, where's Sonia? Come on, there you are, Sonia. Stand right up, be proud. Sonia's a senior graduating from Rhode Island College, my wife Susan's alma mater, this spring. And she'll be one of the first students to earn a degree in artificial intelligence from Rhode Island College. For Sonia's independent study, it's a little over my head, she applied AI to help identify pneumonia in lung x-rays. That's incredible. Who knows what other innovations students will be able to create with access to higher learning and new tools at the Institute for Cybersecurity and Emerging Technologies that I launched with the one and only Congressman Langevin. Thank you, Jim. And thank you for the AI report you just delivered to me in my office. It's going to be a great roadmap for the AI issues in the state. Like more than 500 of her peers, Sonia is also a Hope Scholarship recipient. I want to make sure more students like Sonia can afford to go to college. That's why, as part of my Affordability for All agenda, I'm making the Hope Scholarship permanent for every qualified student, regardless of their income. Thanks, Shannon. To my colleagues in the General Assembly, I ask you to join me. Let's all have Rhode Islanders' backs. Let's pass the Affordability for All agenda. Let's keep $215 million in people's pockets in the first year. And let's keep fighting for an affordable future that Rhode Islanders deserve. Nice. So, water break. Let's talk about SNAP. Last fall, President Trump used hunger as a bargaining chip and held SNAP benefits hostage. In that moment, Rhode Islanders did what we always do. We came together and we took care of each other. My administration made millions of dollars available to support families, directed emergency funding to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, and brought partners together for a statewide push to feed our neighbors. And I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Matos for being out in the community, ensuring residents received the information they needed. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I also want to recognize the staff at the Rhode Island Department of Human Services, DHS. Who answered my call to action to ensure residents received 100% of the SNAP benefits as quickly as possible. That's public service at its best. Melissa from the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, stand up, and George from the Elijah Project are here tonight. Together, their teams distributed over 2.5 million pounds of food during the SNAP shutdown alone. Thanks, guys. That's right. Give them a round of applause. And let's give every volunteer, every nonprofit, every faith leader, the state employees, and your neighbors a round of applause for having Rhode Islanders' backs. Nice. That's great. Well deserved. Well deserved. While we work to deliver affordability for all, this is one of my favorite lines in speech. We must also fight for a future where there's opportunity for all. At the heart of opportunity is a four-letter word, J-O-B-S, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs. Since the start of my administration, Over 36,000 private sector jobs have been added to our economy, with many more in the pipeline. When I'm out in the streets, that's one of the things that people tell me, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, now you do. And it's important to know. At Fidelity in Smithfield, Region in North Kingstown, Amazon in Johnston, Breeze Airway in Warwick, and I think we have somebody representing Breeze tonight, right in the audience. Stand up. Organogenesis in Smithfield. I think we have Gary. Gary, I heard Gary might be here tonight. Gary, he's our CEO of Organogenesis. $100 million investment in Smithfield alone, and hundreds of jobs on their way. Andrill in North Kingstown. Blount Fine Foods in Warren. Norpac in South Kingstown. Flux Marine in Bristol. And that's just to name a few. Yes. Tonight, I'm proud to welcome John Galvin, President, CEO of AAA Northeast. John, just a few months ago, you gave me a phone call. I think I was with you within 2 hours. You said this had this opportunity that we wanted to pursue, called up Commerce, make sure we connected them in. And today, AAA's insurance business, Motor Club Insurance, made a big commitment to the state of Rhode Island. John and his team picked Rhode Island over Massachusetts for their expansion, which comes with 370 new jobs for our state. John, you and your company made the right choice. Thank you for choosing Rhode Island. You guys are next. The founders of Vatten Systems in Bristol, Nelson and Freddie Mills, are here with us tonight. When Vatten needed to relocate to a facility large enough to produce more than 2,000 autonomous underwater vehicles each year, they chose to stay in Rhode Island. Just last week, they acquired another startup working in maritime defense. Vatten's work is driving innovation and creating good paying jobs right here in Rhode Island. Nelson and Freddie, thank you for choosing the Ocean State. We're not just attracting new companies and helping existing businesses grow. We're putting people to work, building projects that will pay dividends for decades to come. Projects like Centerville Bank in Pawtucket, I see Mayor Gerbian out there, URI's Bay Campus, 150 Richmond, and our new state health lab. The state police in Southern Barracks. We got to invest in our state police guys down there in the southern part of the state. DCYF's facility for girls in Exeter, which will be opening up this spring. We also have the new schools across the state. More schools are being built today than ever before in the history of the state of Rhode Island. We've got Rhode Island Air National Guard's new headquarters. I had lunch there the other day with General Chevalier. It's a great place, beautiful place. And upgrades to Port of Galilee and the Port of Davisville. Let's keep Rhode Island building. That's one of the best ways to protect our economy from national downturns. We are rebuilding Rhode Island with good, prevailing wage union jobs that support strong families and bright futures for our state. JOBS, jobs. That is the key to our economy. That's why my budget will call for a $600 million in bond proposals to keep Rhode Island building by investing in infrastructure across our state for business, higher education, K through 12, and housing. First, I'm proposing a $115 million economic development bond to expand maritime and defense infrastructure at Quonset, to invest in the 195 district and life sciences, to grow our ocean tech industry, and very importantly, to develop more construction-ready sites that attract advanced manufacturers and create jobs. Secretary Maury is here tonight. Secretary, in the year of America's 250th anniversary, let's set the stage to build a state history center right here on Capitol Hill and finally give Rhode Island history and our copies of the one-of-a-kind Declaration of Independence the home they deserve. That's in my bond proposal this year. Secretary, thank you for your help. We're also investing in higher education to keep Rhode Island building and learning. I'd like to recognize our state, college, and university presidents for their partnership. Please stand. President Palange. President Palange. President Palange, from URI, the #1 public university in New England 2 years in a row. Thanks, Mark. President Warner from Rhode Island College, where they just welcomed their largest freshman class in 15 years. And President Costigan, the first CCRI graduate to serve as president. She has big things in store for that school, and we do too. For too long, these schools didn't get the upgrades they deserved. My administration changed that. Together with this General Assembly, we delivered historic investments of over $500 million in state-of-the-art facilities where students can learn and innovate. Now let's keep Rhode Island building. My budget will call for a $215 million higher education bond to support new and upgraded facilities at all 3 state schools, modernizing campuses, and preparing students for good-paying jobs. When we talk about a future worth fighting for, we're talking about fighting for the future and the opportunities our children deserve. That's why through our Learn 365 RI initiative, we've made historic investments in K through 12, both in and out of the classroom. These investments include 21 community learning centers throughout the state that will help improve educational outcomes as well as support job development and health. A shout out to all my municipal leader friends who have signed education compacts with me and are working with us to deliver these resources to their hometowns. For the third year in a row, we've reduced chronic absenteeism, adding 3.7 million hours of student learning through our Attendance Matters initiative. 3.7 million hours of learning. Thanks to the work, the hard work of our teachers, staff, parents, students, and our staff at Rhode. Harvard's Education Recovery Scorecard confirmed Rhode Island is leading New England in academic recovery from the pandemic. And on our goal to meet or exceed Massachusetts levels in their education and their K through 12 by 2030, we've closed the achievement gap with Massachusetts by 39% in reading and 29% in math since the start of my administration. There are two students here tonight who are great examples of the progress we are making in education. Janelle, please stand up. I know it's painful, but we want to recognize you. Janelle is a 6th grader at Harry Kazarian School in Providence, and she had perfect attendance last year. Perfect attendance. Thanks, Janelle. Ben is a 7th grader at Nathan Bishop in Providence, and last year he had a perfect attendance and perfect RICAS scores in both math and reading. We're proud of you, Ben. This year, we'll keep delivering for students across the state. Since the start of my administration, Rhode Island has added nearly 100 new career and technical education programs, with an enrollment increasing by nearly 3,000 students. Chris, stand up, yes. A plumbing and pipe fitting teacher at Cranston East is here with us tonight. Chris, I had the opportunity to see some of your work in action when I attended Electric Boat's signing day, when 225 students from across our state took the first step towards a career in shipbuilding. Thank you, Chris. We want to expand opportunities like that. That's why I'm proposing Rhode Island's first dedicated CTE bond in my budget this year. $50 million to build and upgrade CTE classrooms across the state, giving students the space, the equipment, and resources they need to succeed in high-demand careers and good-paying jobs. Chris, again, thank you for your leadership. Stand up and take a bow. You're leading the charge in our schools. Thank you so much. I can't stand here tonight and talk about affordability for all without talking about housing. For nearly 20 years, Rhode Island did not have a statewide plan to build the homes our families need. But my administration changed that. We launched the Housing 2030, Rhode Island's first statewide housing plan in almost 2 decades. Our goal is 15,000 new homes by the end of 2030, nearly double the rate Rhode Island achieved in the past. Together with this General Assembly, we made the single largest investment in housing in our state's history. And with the support of the Rhode Island voters, we passed Rhode Island's largest housing bond. But it's not time to take our foot off the pedal. It's time to keep Rhode Island building and fighting for the housing we deserve. My budget will propose another $120 million housing bond to boost supply and drive down cost, with $25 million dedicated to increasing home ownership. And later this month, I'll be launching a separate $20 million home ownership program aimed at supporting the production of hundreds of low-cost homes across our state with the support of our municipal leaders. A shout out to Treasurer Diosa, who recently launched Anchor Home to give first-time home buyers more affordable mortgage options. It's been a great success. Thank you, James. My infrastructure priority is to work with one of the top bridge builders in the country to build a new Washington Bridge as quickly as possible. I know how frustrating this situation has been for commuters. And as I hear that frustration, I want to be clear. We will never compromise when it comes to your safety. That is a promise I made in 2023 and a promise I made again today. To continue that commitment to safety, my budget will include additional engineering oversight at the Rhode Island Department of Transportation to review inspection reports and ensure that abrupt closures like this never happen again. Last year, we made meaningful progress toward a new bridge, securing $220 million in federal funding, filing all rebuild permits, and actively preparing for construction. Today, I can say that the Washington Bridge is on track to be completed 2 years sooner than the Maryland Key Bridge. Yeah, thank you. And while we're talking about transportation, I want to recognize the leadership and board members at RIPTA. They've begun to stabilize the agency's finances and put RIPTA on a stronger footing for the future. My budget will fully close RIPTA's remaining $14 million deficit, helping to ensure long-term stability moving forward. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Let's talk about a healthy Rhode Island for a moment. President Trump's budget threatens Medicaid coverage for as many as 30,000 Rhode Islanders. No state can fully backfill all the federal cuts coming our way. But as my administration demonstrated during the SNAP crisis, we will act with compassion and use our limited resources to protect the most vulnerable, to help protect the health safety net for all Rhode Islanders. My budget will direct $10 million in state and federal funds to boost support to hospitals as they prepare for an increase in patients who no longer have health insurance. We will also invest nearly $20 million to ensure the state complies with the new federal rules and helps Medicaid recipients stay insured. I can't explain to you what the BBB did, that big, beautiful bill, but you're hearing some of it tonight. As a former mayor, I know firsthand that our local senior centers play an important role in keeping seniors active, engaged, and healthy. That's why every year, for the last 4 years, my budget has increased senior center funding. In fact, since I've been governor, we've doubled that investment. This year, my budget will keep delivering for seniors by increasing the funding once again. I don't know if Mike made it. Mike Crowley, I thought Mike may be here tonight. I'm not sure he got here, but he's the senior center director in my hometown of Cumberland, but he also is the president of the senior centers throughout the state. So, Mike, I think you would like to make sure that this happens, right? Just weeks ago, we secured over $156 million in federal funding to transform health care in 18 communities across Rhode Island. Using this money, we will significantly expand primary care and behavioral health. We'll increase supports for opioid overdose prevention and recovery, because we know one life lost to this epidemic is one too many. We'll invest in hospitals, strengthen our workforce, and make health care more accessible and affordable for Rhode Islanders. And speaking of health care, my administration will continue to work with the President, Senate, Speaker of the House, and the General Assembly members, along with the Attorney General's office, to do everything in our power to ensure that Fatima and Roger Williams stay open for the dedicated staff and the many Rhode Islanders who rely on them for their care. As Washington Republicans cut nutrition benefits for 2,300 Rhode Island households, my budget will double the state grant to the Rhode Island Community Food Grant, the food bank, the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. And as they reduce funding for women's health, my budget adds funding to Planned Parenthood. Their team is with us here tonight in the gallery. Together, thank you. Together, these actions will ensure vital health and nutrition support to make sure it continues to reach those who need it. Rhode Islanders have proven time and time again that we have each other's backs. And as we all think about the future of our state over the next few years, this is my commitment to you. This is my administration's commitment to you. Together, we will stand up to President Trump when he tries to take away Rhode Islanders' health care, food assistance, jobs, or programs that families rely on. My administration will work on your behalf to create opportunity for our children in and out of the classroom. We will work to raise incomes in every home. We will work to keep Rhode Islanders housed and Rhode Islanders healthy. We will deliver affordability for all. I'm asking the people of our state to join me, just as I've asked the General Assembly members tonight to join me. And together, we will continue to build the future Rhode Island deserves, because Rhode Island's future is one worth fighting for. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Would the committee please escort Governor McKee, First Lady, and daughter Karen McKee from the chamber?
Up next on Capitol Television, the Rhode Island Republican response.
Tonight, the governor stood before the people of Rhode Island and talked about progress, about investments, about programs, about plans, all of which require tax dollars. But what I want to talk about tonight isn't policy, it's pain. Because for a lot of Rhode Islanders, the lived experience of the last 20 to 25 years doesn't feel like progress at all. It feels like running faster and harder just to stay in the same place. It feels like doing everything you can to get by and still falling behind. And if we're being honest with ourselves, that pain didn't appear overnight. It didn't come from one bad year or one bad decision. It came from a pattern, a behavior, a way of governing that has gone largely unchanged for decades. In order to understand where Rhode Island is going, we have to be willing to look honestly back at where we've been. In the year 2000, Rhode Island's state budget was about $4.5 billion. Last year, it was over $14 billion, a 200% increase. Over that same period, real household income for Rhode Islanders only grew by about 25 to 30%. That isn't a political talking point, that's math. According to the Rhode Island Public Expenditure Council, state spending growth has consistently outpaced economic and income growth for decades, year after year, administration after administration. Democrat majorities have been approving annual budgets for decades that grow faster than the paychecks of the people paying for them. In fact, it's grown 7 times faster. And when spending grows faster than income for that many years, the consequences are not theoretical. They show up in the real world. Consequences like young families realizing they can't afford to stay in Rhode Island. Home prices have nearly tripled since 2000, and our housing inventory has been swallowed up by out-of-state corporations and a transient, remote, out-of-state workforce, largely from Boston and Manhattan. Consequences like ever-growing utility bills, higher property taxes, and more fees, all a direct result of the types of policies we heard about tonight from the governor. Consequences like municipalities being forced to pay for state-mandated programs that receive no funding. Cities and towns must then pass that cost down to homeowners and renters in the form of increased property taxes and fees. Consequences like families who never imagined needing help suddenly finding themselves relying on public assistance just to keep up. Even the state's own demographic data shows young, working-age Rhode Islanders exiting at a record pace. And this is the demographic that is needed to pay the taxes that the state budget relies on. Here's the trajectory if we stay on this path. Over the next 25 years, we will have a shrunken working-age population trying to support a government that keeps growing faster than the paychecks of the people supporting it. Taxes, fees, and utility costs won't drift upwards, they will lurch higher. And here's the part that frustrates people the most. All this spending has not delivered the results that they were promised. For example, we already spend more than triple what we did 25 years ago, yet healthcare is less affordable, housing is less attainable, workforce participation is lower, and health and human services alone now consumes more than 1/3 of the entire state budget. In 2000, Rhode Island's energy prices were 20 to 40% above the national average. Today, they are 42 to 74% higher than our Northeast neighbors alone. Households are effectively paying for 15.5 months of electricity each year, and most of these increases are the result of the 2021 Act on Climate, despite only 9% of Rhode Islanders stating clean energy as a priority. In that same period, the median home price has gone from $136,000 to over $515,000. Despite 35 years of focused state spending on housing, we rank 50th in new housing starts. Providence is the least affordable rental market in the country, and we have the 2nd highest rate of chronic homelessness. When it comes to public education, Rhode Island spends about $21,000 per student per year, among the highest cost in the nation. Yet, recent student proficiency rates have fallen back to early 2000 levels. So if spending alone was an actual solution, as our Democratic friends seem to believe it is, Rhode Island would be thriving, but it simply isn't. When politicians say government should take care of the people, what they mean is more programs, more spending, and more control from the State House. After decades of that approach, Rhode Islanders are paying more, earning less, and falling further behind. A budget should reflect our values, yes, but a government that truly values people makes it easier for them to stand on their own, not harder. We simply must change the direction our state is headed. Now, whenever someone like me talks about overspending, the response is predictable. We're asked, fine, what would you cut? And this is where the conversation usually goes off the rails. The real problem in Rhode Island isn't that 1 or 2 failing programs exist. It's that spending growth has been allowed to run faster than income growth with very little discipline. If we're serious about changing direction, the first thing we would change isn't a department or a program. It's the rules of budgeting. Government spending should never be allowed to grow faster than the ability of the people to pay for it, period. Tie spending growth to inflation and income growth, and suddenly every budget cycle forces prioritization instead of excuses and more pet projects and more taxes. Layers of administrative duplication across departments, quasi-public agencies, and public authorities have been created but never consolidated for efficiency. We have grown government to a grotesque size and see only downward trends in nearly every meaningful way of measuring success. 25 years ago, our state government employed about 16,000 people. Today, that number's down by 2%, but should be down much more. Back then, Rhode Island also spent $122 million on private consultants. Today, however, just 25 years later, our cost for private consultants has quadrupled to over $600 million, and our state workforce has only shrunk by 2%. This is the very definition of government bloat, and it's hidden in plain sight. These trends need to be reversed, and we need to seriously right-size our state budget. None of that means cutting care for vulnerable people. None of that means closing schools or gutting public safety. It means slowing the growth of bureaucracy, demanding outcomes before dollars are allocated, and being honest that federal money isn't free, especially today as Rhode Island relies on 3 times as much federal funding as it did in the year 2000. So the solution isn't cut X department tomorrow. The solution is changing the behavior of state government so that spending growth aligns with income growth. That's how we stop digging the hole deeper, and it's not a novel idea. Quite bluntly, it's what every single Rhode Island family does every week when they sit at the kitchen table with their checkbooks and the ever-growing pile of bills. They prioritize and they tighten their belts. Rhode Islanders aren't asking for miracles. They're asking for honesty and transparency. They want to see spending discipline. They desperately want a government that understands their reality. They want to live in a state where their hard work is rewarded, not punished. They want a Rhode Island where building a life here doesn't feel like swimming upstream and where the future looks bright again. In conclusion, our future isn't written yet, but the trend lines are telling us the hard truths. And if we're willing to listen to them, we still have time to change our course, but it will require abandoning the failed governance model of the past 25 years. Legislative Republicans have been fighting for this type of fiscal restraint for decades, and we will continue to do so because the good people of Rhode Island deserve no less. Good night, God bless you, and God bless the state of Rhode Island.